projects.
Okay, go on, sir. I'm listening.
The project works. Project is an action word. Project must have a purpose. I learned that the job of a project manager is to save costs, save time, and to save resources. I learned that project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. I also learned who the stakeholders are in every project: community, government, the client. I learned the project manager's competence, technicality, leadership, and strategy and business plan. I also learned the 5 stages of project initiation, project planning, project execution, project monitoring, and project closing. That's a summary of what we learned yesterday.
Yes. Yes, and we talked about the project charter as one of the sub-processes.
Of a project initiation, yes.
And we also talked about feasibility studies as part of creating the business case.
Yeah.
Okay, every project should have a business case created. And that is why it's advisable for project owners to contract the project manager early in the project, even before the initiation.
The business case.
Yes, because the business case comes to justify the reason, the purpose where which the project must be embarked on. Because the business case looked at the financial viability of the financial and the business viability of the project. You wouldn't want to embark on a project that will not meet its needs, or maybe before it's been created, the need is no more in the market. So that's why you need a business case. The business case, as the name implies, case is like an argument. You come in to say, okay, because of these and these reasons, which I have stipulated in here, there should be a project to meet this need. And all your justifications are buried in there. All the why are in there. All the how you intend to increase value, how you intend to reduce cost, how you intend to capture maybe the higher market share, how you intend to come up with a better distribution channel, and so on and so forth. You just keep looking for reasons to satisfy the stakeholders' demands. So, but if at the end of the day, the business case is not justifiable, which means a project should not be initiated. Yeah, that's it. And we would have to make focused also when we're looking at developing the business case. Like I said the other day, that in the initiating phase, we create every subsidiary plans of the project. The financial plan will be created. The risk management plan will be created subsidiarily in a high level. So if peradventure
inside the business case,
inside the initiating level, but now you can bury it in the business case. You may decide to put it in the business case or attach it with the business case. Just
the business case is in the initiation process now.
Yes, sir. So we are still talking about that.
Okay.
So that is that. This is the best time to contract your consultants. This is the best time to bring in your project management professional to give advice, to conduct certain things and carry out due diligence to be able to advise if we must embark on the project. Then, having done all this, creating the business case, like I said, there would be a document all these would be
I think we talked about it yesterday, the alternative analysis. You said there must be, yes, yeah. You said we must develop a document to where budget, resource required, time required, everything. We are going, but I thank God that you're expanding on it. So I'm happy going.
So now we were talking about the project charter before we went off. So like I said, the project charter is a document that would be created, and this document carries all these subsidiary plans, all the subsidiary due diligence which we've carried out, and there must be two columns rather, one for the business, for the project manager to sign, and one for the project owners to sign. That document gives right to the project manager that, okay, you have the right now to embark on this project with so and so amount, because everything is stipulated in there. Now he will now use that document as the authority now to now start recruiting his project management team. And then that will join him in the appropriate planning of the project. If it is a construction project, in his team, a civil engineer would be there. If it is a construction project, the architect would be there, the building engineers, and it will bring these people together. And now they would start creating the project management plan. And in the project management plan, all those subsidiary plans created in the initiating stage would be thoroughly created. They would be created in detail now. And this project management plan defines how the project is executed, how the project will be monitored, and how the project will be controlled. The project management plan carries out the project content will be defined. And most
project management plan. Sorry, come again, sir.
Project management plan defines how the project is executed and how the project is monitored and controlled.
Project is executed, right?
Yes.
How
the
project
is monitored
and
controlled.
Is monitored and controlled.
Also, how the project is closed.
It's closed.
Yeah. So now, having said this, when we manage projects and we create the project management plan, we have processes we follow. And these processes are the processes we will be talking about on each 5 stages that we have just introduced. But you would agree with me that some projects are more complex than some. So which means the complexity, if the complexity is high, certain detailing, certain attentions will be given to certain areas. While for simple and small projects, we may just come up with 1-page document as a project management plan, and then we embark on it and we close the project. But according to the application area and the complexity of the project, the kind of or the detailing of the project management plan would vary. Yeah, but all must play within 49 sub-processes that we will be talking about. And these sub-processes are cascaded in a way that they also touch
49
sub-processes.
49
sub-processes. So, and these 49 sub-processes are shared among these major 5 subgroups we talked about, and groups we talked about, the 5 stages.
Stages, okay.
Yeah. some will be carried out in the initiating phase, some in the planning phase. Now, for the planning phase, what are these sub-processes? We would understand the collect requirements and also how to define scope. Haven't done that. We would create the work breakdown structure, where which we would decompose the scope of the project into small and manageable level. And after that, we will further break them down into what is called the activities level. And in the activity level, it will be easier for us to look at them and plan them better. Just like if we may want to decompose, create the work breakdown structure for a 3-bedroom apartment building, you know, the foundationing will be one of the major activities there, and block works. We move on to plastering and finishing, installation of roofs. All these ones will be part of it. And while we're talking about installation of roof, there are other sub-activities in installation of roof. That is building of the trusses would be there. Even the procurement of the roofing materials would also be there. So now we would further divide them into sub-activities. In these sub-activities, we can plan them very well. It will be easier for us to know how long it will take us to move the woods from the market down to the site, and how much it will require us to get that done, and the materials needed. And also, sorting them out, if we must sort them out, may be an activity. And then, starting by placing the pole lines. Okay, hello, you went off. Hello?
Sorry, it went off.
Okay, no problem. Let me reiterate. So that is that about project. The project planning phase has its own sub-processes. When we are planning, project, all projects, there are things that are expected of us to do. The first thing, we must invite the stakeholders and the project management team together, and to understand what the stakeholders' desires are. That is what is called the collect requirements. They will tell you, maybe a particular stakeholder will tell you, I really want the building to be blue in color. Another one would say, and let the foundation be this high. As you're saying that, you and your team are checking the constructability of their desires. At the same time, maybe you're redefining the kind of foundation that is required and re-advising them. It is not appropriate.
This is called what? Knowing what stakeholders want.
Collect requirements.
Collect requirements.
Collect requirements. So when you collect these requirements from all what they are talking about, maybe we need 5-story building. The first floor will be this big. We want the hall to be here. We want it to be situated in this place. We want you to be able to finish it within 3 months. And when you gather all these requirements from all stakeholders, remember we have a list of stakeholders. We talked about those that can influence our project negatively
or positively,
and those that our project can influence negatively or positively. Those that our project can influence negatively may be the community saying that we don't want you to construct at night. We want to rest. We want to sleep. So all these would be parts of the requirement. So when you put all these requirements, you, as a project management professional, you would be able to come up with the scope of the project. The scope of the project is just a paragraph that defines the project in a high level. Not in detail, in a high level, where somebody can just look at it, okay, 5-star hotel, 30-story, high and so meter high, and you just define it, and within 3 months it should be able to accommodate 40 or 400 guests, and ambiguously you just have it
But
defined.
let me ask a question. How can the collective requirement determine the scope of the project? The scope of the project is given by the client, not so.
The
scope of the project is
the client, first of all. Now, you are looking at when a contract is being formed and issued out to you without your involvement, right? And they are giving you the scope to go and but now see it in this way, that they've done the initiating phase, and the project manager is also with them in coming up with that scope. So you are supposed to be with them. Maybe you are contracted as a consultant coming in. You are there with them. You are the one that formed it. You are the one that liaises with all the parties to bring out this scope that they are now issuing out to the contractors. But today now you are a contractor, but also you have understanding of how scope is being defined. Right? That's what we are looking at. We are not looking at you coming in to inherit a scope alone. We are looking at you being able to form a scope, and how scopes are formed.
You form your own scope outside the expectation of the client when they give you the contract. You form your own scope on how you want to execute your project. This is the scope I want to follow.
Yes, but you form it first of all. When a contract is being issued, the contract may not be that you are coming in to execute like what they do here. They will, first of all, when you bid, at the end of the day, they give you the specification you bid and you are successful. You will be integrated. You will come in to form the scope with them, because we need a viable scope. That's why you see that most of the projects around this terrain are abandoned, because the scope is faulty. When in the scope, remember, it is from the preliminary budgeting schedule is part of it. If those things are faulty, and that's why we say, bring in the project manager on time. Bring in the project manager on time. So, but if it is being contracted, when we are just assuming that all these things have been done well, and they are passing it on to us, and then even if it's being passed on to you, you are supposed to look at it and do it right to ensure that the scope given to you is viable. And if it's not viable, that's why you call the client and say, this scope is not viable because of this and this reason. So we would have to rescope. We would have to redefine the scope. It's not viable. These materials that we are required to build this hotel cannot be gotten within this time of the year. And you want me to deliver in 3 months. So we would have to adjust the scope. We would have to redefine it. And then they will look at it, okay, let's redefine. And you define. And then you come up with a viable scope. When you have the viable scope, you now plan the scope. How do you plan the scope? You now place the scope on a platform where which you decompose it. You break it down. You bring out the foundationing aspect of it. You bring out the procurement aspect of it. You take out the electrical installation aspect of it. You put it in a place. And then you remove the roofing aspect of it. And so forth. You now decompose it. So you can now look at each aspect of the decomposition to plan them. And you further go, when you are decomposing this thing in a high level, that is what is called the work breakdown structure. You are forming a work breakdown structure hierarchically from start to finish. Once you have done that, you may want to go in now to further break down, to further decompose it into smaller and more manageable components. Now pick foundation of a typical building. What activities can we get in there?
Excavation.
Excavation one.
Yeah, excavation. Blinding.
Blinding two.
Casting.
Casting three.
laying of blocks, backfilling, yes, and DPC.
And DPC.
That's putting your what they call mats. That's your enforcement, road enforcement.
Okay, sir.
Your pillars. Yeah.
Okay, now these 6 or 7 things which you have just mentioned.
Depending on client specification, what is in the diagram, the architectural design, the structural design of the substructure.
Okay, so now you have this now according to their specification. These 7 things you've called, it would become more easier for you to plan them, right?
Yes.
You would know how many men can carry out the excavation for you. The equipment required.
The machineries, the equipment, yes.
And it's easy to plan at this level. And the time it will take, it's easy. So that is why we call it the defined activity level. And after having been defined the activities, we want to sequence this activity. What comes first and what comes last? What is going to be succeeding what? You sequence the activity. And having done that, you look at each activity duration. How long will it take? When you look at the activity duration, a particular activity, like we talked about the blinding, we talked about the DPC, we talked about excavation, and sometimes, technically, you may not finish one before you start one. Maybe once they start excavation from a particular end, and they are 6 hours, maybe 10 hours into it, you have started blinding already from that end. And as they are moving on, so there is an overlap. A start relationship, start excavation, and 6 hours later or 10 hours later, blinding is following. And as blinding is coming up, maybe 10 hours later, they have started placing block from that end and it's advancing. Can you see the sequencing? Now you use this to save time because you don't want to keep these professionals just waiting without working for you, because at the end of the day you will lose more. You want to make you're trying to hit the 3 months calendar given to you by the client. So you organize the start-to-start relationship. We call them the logics. You organize them, and some of these dependencies, some are mandatory. That is the way you must do them. Painting comes after plastering, right? This is a mandatory dependency. Also, there are other things that you can use your discretion as a professional to do. Certain things. So those are discretionary dependencies. We will talk about them in detail. We're just introducing it here now. So when you are being able to come up with the activities of the total project from start to finish, you are half done. Because it's easier now to plan. You know you need 4 men for the plastering. You know you need 6 or 7 men for the painting. It's just easy for you to plan. And if you have 5 men in a place where you need 6 men, you know that I'm not going to be able to finish this project on time. Let me look for an additional 1 man. Or maybe the client is saying, we have lost 1 day. Or maybe you have looked at it from your project management plan. You've lost 1 day and you want to achieve it. What are you going to do while you're monitoring it? You would ensure that in the plastering, you bring in maybe additional 3 men to add to the 6, making them 9 to be able to finish it on time. When you do this, it is what we call the schedule compression. You are compressing the schedule to finish earlier. And in schedule compression, we have 2 kinds. One is the fast tracking. The fast tracking is when you have 2 activities running in parallel, 2 activities that are supposed to run they're supposed to succeed each other. You come up in a way that they run concurrently. Maybe with an overlap of maybe 1 or 2 hours. You just wait it a little. Maybe once you are done plastering 1 room, immediately you're bringing in a machine that can blow dry it. And In the next 3-4 hours, painting is moving in, and as they're plastering the next room, you're running them concurrently. You're trying to save time. But when you try to save time, remember, we use money to save time. More men now, more materials, right? So all these are part of the planning. What you are going to do in the place where you're running at loss. We even plan the monitoring and controlling too, how we intend to monitor the project. So we will take them one by one. So let's move on to the next one, executing.
Come again, my earpiece fell, so I didn't hear.
Okay, I said, in the planning phase, you are supposed to be able to create all activities and allot the financial cost to them. You come up with a budget in the planning phase. That is making a phase. Yes, you come up with a budget in the planning phase. And in the planning phase, you identify all your risk. You analyze your risk in the planning phase. You come up with a risk response strategy. I will teach you all that, how you come up with risk response strategy. The other day, I told us that we have 2 kinds of risk, positive and negative risk, which I introduced the CATM. So we will talk about them in detail when we get to risk management. Then also, it is in the planning phase you develop your schedule. It is in the planning phase you come up with the stakeholders management plan. And once you have all these plans in detail, it becomes the Bible. Everything rises and falls on this plan. Anything that is not in this plan must not be created. If it must be created, maybe there is a change request from the client, or maybe you have looked at it. There's a way we can do it better. That blue color painting that this man is talking about is too expensive in the market. Why not we use pink or maybe black mixed with red to be able to get a woman-friendly color, and it will save us cost. And then you go back to the client and tell the client, we want to change this thing because of this and this. If we wait for the manufacturer to supply us this paint, it will take additional 2-3 months. And if he says yes, you go back to the project management plan to change that aspect. You must change it in the plan before you carry it out in real life. So nobody does what is not in the plan.
That means the plan is flexible.
It's always flexible.
It's not fixed.
It's not. But you need authorization and approval. Certain persons has a right to change what is in the plan, not the field engineer, not the site engineer. The site engineer may not use his discretion in a place where the plan would be affected. He does not have the right. He would only raise a change request, and the change request will be looked into by senior management, because change request sometimes would cause delay. Change request may not be what, if change is implemented without the approval, it may be what would cause dissatisfaction. The stakeholder at the end of the day may not accept the project. That's why we thoroughly want to look at every change request and consult the stakeholder, explain, give our own justification. And sometimes it comes with financial implication. So it's not something you must do alone, except is within your ability, within your authority. Because every change is money. It's either you're saving cost or you would be incurring more cost. Or you are affecting the strength of the materials in a way. So we want to look at it professionally to say, okay, maybe it could be a change of material. Instead of 9 mm, we're talking about 12 mm because there's no 9 mm in the market. Why not we go for 12 mm? And moving from 9 mm to 12 mm, it's money, serious money. Yeah, it's serious money. But talking about, yeah, it's serious money, whose pocket will that money come from? We must know how we intend to accommodate that additional cost. So this brings us to project execution. So now in the project execution phase, you, the project manager, you just carry in your project management plan. According to what you have in there, you go back to those activities level, all the time which you have allotted there, the number of men, and you start bringing them on board. And you know that certain things should be done.
Sorry. Can you come again?
The project execution, you the project manager, okay, go back to the project management plan. You bring in the project management and place it on top of your table. And you now start carrying out the execution according to the project management plan. In a place where 4 men is required, you bring in the 4 men. 4 pans required, you buy the 4 pans at the stipulated time that you must buy them. If in the plan it's been mentioned that don't buy, hire, you don't buy. In a place where it's a buy, don't hire, you buy. And if it says at in the plan, looking at the schedule, okay, after 3 weeks, instead of using 4 men, we need to use 3 men. You now drop 1 man and you keep 3 men. And in a place where in a particular day you need 7 men, you now start working beforehand to bring in those 7 men. And as you're doing that, you're looking at the schedule. You know, I said we will look at the MS project, the Microsoft project, so we can understand how schedule and planning is built with that software. So you are looking at it. Am I saving cost? Am I incurring cost? If I'm saving cost, beautiful. Wow, I continue. If I'm incurring cost, what am I going to do to fast track and be on budget? And you are doing this, but you must follow the plan. But remember, there must be certain things that you would come to experience in the execution proper. That you would know that, okay, in the planning, we did not see this coming this way. At that level.
That's what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you that. That usually in surveying and in engineering, we always say that what you see on paper is different from what you see on ground. So what do you do at that time?
Now, that is where you initiate the change control system. You now you carry out a change request by putting up your justification. And now we know what you see on ground is different from most times what you see on paper. But that has to do with the experience of the planners. There are some planners that their planning gives you 90 to 80% accuracy. 90 to 98% accuracy. You see now? So that's why we want to talk. We always want to bring in experts that have recently done that particular thing in that terrain in our planning. You don't want somebody that can be a civil engineer. You don't know the soil formation of certain areas. No, we don't want to do that. We need somebody from that terrain. So our planning will be close to accurate. But in planning, which I will show you something we do. You are familiar with contingency planning, right? We still in our planning, we carry out contingencies. Because we know things can change in the field. How many percent contingency is required at the planning level? We have 2 kinds of contingency. We have the contingency reserves and we have the management reserve. Yes, as the engineers are planning, we are telling them, put 10% contingency. Because 10% contingency is
the management too had their own contingency.
Yes, they would have an account where they have certain amount, maybe 20% of the total budget kept somewhere. If should in case shark jumps out of the river to want to grab the roof and go back, are they going to get it done? Are they going to resist that? So all these plans, these are things we are coming to learn in course of this training. So we move on to the next phase, the monitoring and the controlling. So in the execution, like I said, we are executing with our plans, according to our monitoring. Plan. So the monitoring and controlling. Let's check that.
Control.
Yeah. So this process, continually track and review, adjust the report to the project performance. Now you're looking at the project performance. You're making an adjustment. In a place where they are doing well, you encourage it to be better. In a place where they are not doing well, you try to probe it to know what is the cause. That is what you do. You follow the performance and ensure that you bring everything that is going off the plan back to book. That's what you do there. But remember, we said you must obtain approval from whoever that has the authority to give approval, because change means several things. It means money, it means time, it means quality. But you must ensure that the project remains on track. There are some processes we will look at in detail. Like I said, I'll give you a plan that will keep on you in your office, and then you'll be looking at it each time. You know, as this training is going on, you'll be looking at it. Where are we? Okay, maybe you call up one item like project schedule. What is in project schedule? You now start reminding yourself what project schedule is all about. So having done that, that brings us to another phase, the closing phase. The closing phase.
Okay, so can you run through this project monitoring and control again?
This process is where you track and review and make adjustments of the project performance. You track, you review, you make adjustments of the project performance. Okay? By following up what they are executing, that's the project performance. And thereafter, it is the closing phase.
Okay.
And the closing is a phase. It's not like we are done, you throw the key. In the closing, remember, they will come and inspect. In the closing, they will come and acceptance will be carried out. When they inspect, and if it is not working, let's start with the WhatsApp.